Hi comic book fans, and welcome to another suddenlycomics.com video. Um, New glasses. I can actually see what I'm reading now, so I don't need to take my glasses off to read. Fantastic. Right. I'm going to do a review today, and the comic I'm going to be reviewing is Laila Starr, The Many Deaths of Laila Starr, written by Ram V, with art by Filipe Andrade. I'm going to say. I hope I haven't murdered his name. This is a series that's been coming out over the last few months and has just finished with episode 5. So it's a complete story. There's some really nice covers and artwork with this story. I'll just show you those first before I go on to my reviews and scores. So this is issue 1. This is issue 2. Issue 3, which is a really nice. There's some really nice foil covers on this series. So this is issue 3, a really nice foil cover. Issue 4. I think that's the standard A cover, and here is the foil cover for issue 4. And finally, I've got the foil cover for issue 5, which I've just read. And this is a really beautiful foil cover. I am going to get the other variants of these because I think this is a great series. And I think it was an unlockable version of issue 4. Really nice. Okay, and just a little bit about the plot. I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but this book has really got two main characters. The first of which is this character on the cover here, who is Laila Starr. Now, Laila Starr was Death, and she was the Indian version of Death, and as Death, she had 6 pairs of hands, which you can see there in the shadows. Okay, and in the first issue of this, she's called to head office. Death is called to head office to see the Almighty, and the Almighty explains that somebody is going to invent immortality, and therefore, unfortunately, she's going to be made redundant. So Death is put into the body of this young lady here called Laila Starr. So the 5 issues follow effectively the 5 meetings between Death in the form of Laila Starr and the guy who invents immortality, a guy called Darius Shah. And after each of their meetings, unfortunately, Laila gets killed, but she is brought back to life by her friend, one of the other gods, who's god of life. Hence the many deaths of Laila Starr. Okay, so what did I? First of all, let me give this an investment score. Right, this is a one-off story arc. It's a complete story in itself. I don't think there's going to be a follow-up series. This is a story in itself. It starts, it's got a middle, and it finishes. So it's a one-off. So it's that limits its investment potential to a certain extent. And secondly, as far as I'm aware, that it hasn't been optioned or anything. So, however, I think it is extremely good. But it hasn't been optioned. It's a one-off, less likely to gather momentum in terms of value. So, for investment purposes, investment score, I'm going to give it 18 out of 33. Right, onto the artwork. I love the artwork on this. It is really, really good. And as with the last comic series that I reviewed, Shadecraft, there's clearly a rapport between the writer and the artist. And the artist really captures the spirit of what the writer is trying to achieve here. And you know, some of these covers are just beautiful works of art in themselves. I mean, look at this. This is one of my favourite covers of the year. Absolutely glorious. What score am I going to give the artwork? I'm going to give the artwork 27 out of 33. Really, really high. Now, onto the story. This is simply the best story arc I have read since I started getting back into comics. I've said that about it's better than in my view. It's more original and different to Shadecraft. I'm a big fan of James Tynion, and I'm really enjoying Nice House on the Lake, and that may turn out to be my favourite storyline. But at this point in time, The Many Deaths of Laila Starr is my favourite story for quite some considerable time in comics. Now, there is a fantastic interview with Ram V, who wrote this, which I am going to put in the Killer Comics Show, did an interview with Ram V about a month ago, which is really, really good and has not had enough views in my view. I'm going to put a link to the Killer Comics interview with Ram V in the description below, and I strongly recommend you go and watch it because it's really interesting. Now, before I went and re-watched that, if you had asked me what this writer is most like, I would have said he reminds me of Neil Gaiman. And interestingly, in the interview that he gives, he says his main influence is Neil Gaiman. And not only that, but he said that he was still going through and reading everything Alan Moore had ever written. So those of you who've watched my show before know that those are two of my favourite writers. So anybody who quotes their main influences being Neil Gaiman and Alan Moore is already in my good books. And during the interview, he did say, you know, this is more like it's more like Good Omens as much as it is The Good Place, which I thought was a great quote. So. What score am I going to give the writing? Okay, so this is out of 33, and this is a pretty difficult. You know, even Neil Gaiman and Alan Moore, I wouldn't give 33 out of 33 for. So I'm going to give this 28 out of 33, which is a very, very, very strong score. And my bonus point, yes, I am giving my bonus point because this is the only one of these comics. Is the only comic I have ever read which is written from the perspective of a cigarette. Yep, you heard me. One of the comics is written from the perspective of a cigarette. This is really imaginative writing. I really enjoyed this. So what score have we got here? We've got a huge score. So 18 out of 33 for investment. 27, so that's 18 and 37, 30, 45, 65, 73, and a bonus point. I make that 74 points. The main fallback is investment potential, which I think is okay, but not huge at this point in time. Right, so I strongly recommend that you seek out and read The Many Deaths of Laila Starr by Ram V. I have already, Ram V, you may well ask, what other things has this guy written? He's written quite a few things. He wrote, and I haven't read these, but I'm going out to go and get them after this. He wrote something called Blue and Green. He wrote Graffiti's Wall. And he is the current writer on Catwoman, and he has been for some time. I have got some of those issues, and I'm going to go, which I bought for the artwork, for the Jenny Frison artwork. But now I realise they've been written by Ram V. I'm going to go and read them. And also he is writing the current Swamp Thing series that I've heard a lot of people saying is really good. So I've been buying them, but I haven't yet got around to reading them, and it's only today that I realised the writer is Ram V. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this review. My hat has been replaced by glasses. So, enough said.